we wasted a ton of money trying to figure out how can we retain cases. And it really came down to one stupid, simple thing. Just make your messaging personal and make that first message from the attorney. And all of a sudden, like our conversion rate just shot up. That first text message, that first call, if it was from the lead attorney who's going to be managing your case, had a dramatic impact on how many cases you actually signed. It was crazy.
Welcome out. We are here with Chris Lyle, the founder of LawHustle, and a practicing attorney who is also a multiple business owner now, right, with his practice and also LawHustle. We're going to talk through why he does what he does. We're going to talk through what LawHustle is, what kind of an attorney he is. We're going to really figure out what's going on in the world of Chris Lyle. So welcome out to your show, and I'm excited for you to share your message.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Well, I guess it's my show. I guess it really doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, that's the fun of the beginning. Thank you, world, for having Chris Lyle, right? Like, he's here. And so, like, right off the bat, what kind of an attorney are you, right? Like, I mean, there's so many different type of lawyers out there.
Yeah, I mean, specifically, I practice in intellectual property. I'm a patent attorney. I kind of do hardware and software patents for people. That's kind of like my bread and butter of like what I'm good at because I have a technology background. But my law firm that I work in or I kind of run, my partner specifically does workers' compensation. So like our firm is solely focused on injury related stuff. And I could just kind of do my nerd patent stuff on the side is what I technically currently do. So yeah.
Awesome. And how did you, so you said you had a background in that. Like, how did you settle on that as your focus?
It was kind of a weird situation. So I used to work in the medical space and like the technology realm, and something came up where we needed to like figure out how we can protect some sort of like laboratory procedure regarding something, right? And the whole concept of patents came up, and I was looking into it, and I'm like, oh, what do these patent attorneys do? And I looked into it, like you have to have a science degree, you have to go to law school, right? So I'm like, oh, I have a science degree. I'm like, oh, I go to law school. Like, so that's like, it was like a mid-career like shift. Like, I'm just going to go to law school and I'm going to be a patent attorney. So like I went to law school at night, part-time, took me 4 years as I was working full-time. I took the bar exam while I was working full-time. And then I took the patent bar exam, which is a completely separate bar exam. It's kind of how I got into, I fell into this really.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't think that's the normal path for most attorneys, right? Like, that's really fascinating. And so you have your practice, but then you've also started LawHustle. Like, tell us what LawHustle is.
Yeah, so LawHustle kind of just happened. And the reason why I want to say it just happened is when, my partner now of the firm, he came to me at some point after we got out of law school, and he said, hey, let's start our own practice. And I'm just like, well, I don't know anything about workers' compensation. Why the heck would I do this? Why would I do this? Right. So anyways, after some thinking, we decided to like, just make a run at it. I was going to run the business and do all the tech stuff, cause that's really what I was good at the technology end of stuff and automating things. And we went with it. So, but as we started building our practice, trying to get cases was like a thing that we just didn't know how to do. Right. And it was terrible. Like he brought a few cases with him, like maybe less than 5 or something like that. But getting some sort of marketing efforts in place to get cases and then converting those cases into clients was like a whole nother ballgame that like you don't ever learn about until you actually have to do it in the trenches.
Right.
So we were left trying to find a marketing company that could provide results for us, and all of them completely failed miserably, delivering nothing, just blowing money out the window like it was going out of style. And so I took it upon myself, and I realized the sort of process is like the quicker you can get these people on the phone, the quicker they stop shopping. You make that personal relationship and that personal connection, and then they end up retaining you as the attorney. So we built an entire like duct tape system around like Zapier and Ring Central and all these things, like duct taped a bunch of things together to like, so as soon as the lead came in, we automatically messaged them, we automatically called them, all these things. And then that kind of beta or alpha version duct taped together is kind of what transpired into what LawHustle is now today. And like now it's like completely 100% automated. Like they get a personal text message from an attorney. I'm a firm advocate on like, if somebody's injured, or somebody's been in a car accident or whatever the situation happens to be, they want to hear from somebody who's actually going to be handling their case. So if that first message is personal, it's from an attorney, and you're just portraying that like, hey, I want to help. Do you want to talk? Your rate of consultation goes tremendously high. And so that's what the whole system was built around. Is like getting people to have that immediate personal connection with an attorney who can help them, and then getting them on the phone to make that retention of that new case possible.
Yep. So LawHustle was something that you first kind of created as just a necessary thing for your business to create marketing and generate cases for your business. But now you've worked on it and perfected it and turned it into a marketing service platform for other attorneys so that they can actually have that same automated ability to bring in new patients or new cases. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Right. Yeah. It's more or less, I wouldn't say it's more or less marketing driven. It's more just taking the mundane process out of the attorney work. Because the attorney's job is to like work with their clients, make their cases better, right? Not chase down an Excel spreadsheet of leads to get them to retain you as a client. So like, as long as you have marketing efforts happening and leads are happening or being followed up with automatically in our system, like for example, LawHustle, for example, they get to the consultation quicker and they stop shopping around, which increases your conversion rate dramatically. So we're like we operate like right in the middle between whatever marketing efforts you're currently doing to generate leads and case retention. And we're like that small bubble where nobody fills. So.
Right. That's huge. And so basically it's like, hey, you're already spending marketing dollars. You already have a system that's out there, but it's inefficient. So in a way, you kind of come and plug some of those holes that most practices have in their bucket, and allow them to just focus on being a great attorney instead of trying to be a salesperson or work on other things. That's awesome.
Because no attorney wants to be a salesperson.
Right. Right. And so what would you say, like, what does the average attorney need to do to just be a better like business owner in their practice?
I mean, to be honest, like I've stumbled and fumbled and fallen on my face millions of times trying to like get our practice to where it is today. But, a lot of the wisdom that I've gotten along the way from other people is like, there's only one bottleneck in your practice at a time, right? If you fix the bottleneck, obviously another bottleneck is going to present itself. So, and when you start a practice, it may not necessarily, your bottleneck may not necessarily be something related to case management. Like your first bottleneck could be like, how am I going to get potential clients? That's your first one. Figure that problem. Right. And then the next one's going to open up like, okay, now I'm getting a bunch of leads. What do I do with them? And there's going to be another bottleneck. So as long as you like work your way down from like marketing efforts all the way down to case retention, even like case valuation at the end, like this, for example, maybe there's a bottleneck with your process to make your case valuation higher for your clients, for something like that. Like there's always one bottleneck. And as long as you just continually like focus on one, fix it, go to the next one, focus on fix it. When you get to the end of the line, don't get me wrong, they're always going to come up. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But you just work at it. Like
that's smart.
You'll figure it out for sure.
Yeah. Well, and that idea of focusing on one bottleneck at a time is really a big deal. I think sometimes people get overwhelmed thinking of all the things that need to be fixed or all of the issues, right? And saying, well, there's got to be one that is the bottleneck. So fix that first and work through that linearly. You said that you stumbled and you learned a lot on the way. What was one mistake that you made or challenge that you faced early on in your practice, and how'd you overcome it?
I mean, the biggest one is literally case retention. I think that's one of the biggest thing I think any solo attorney or small firm struggles with is like, you want to go out and hang up your shingle, but then how do you get cases? Like that's the biggest thing. It's like, what marketing efforts work? What agencies can you reach out to? Is SEO the option? Is paid leads or paid ads the option? Like what is the best route for you? So like my biggest mistake is when I figured out what got us the potential clients that we can speak to, the biggest problem we had was the intake. We wasted a ton of money trying to figure out how can we retain cases. And it really came down to like literally one stupid, simple thing. Just make your messaging personal and make that first message from the attorney. And all of a sudden, like our conversion rate just shot up. It was absolutely crazy just by not having a paralegal reach out to somebody, not having an admin, not having a secretary, that first text message, that first call, if it was from the lead attorney who's going to be managing your case, had a dramatic impact on how many cases you actually signed. It was crazy.
And this is, I think, something that's really significant in your mindset, right? There's some attorneys who will say, well, they don't get to me until XYZ, right? But you're saying, hey, if you lead with that human connection, you put the customer first, the client first, then the relationship for both people gets better. And then later on, you can have your paralegals doing their jobs and those kind of things happening. So how do you take that customer first approach throughout your business?
I mean, it's all about trust. Like trust is like the biggest thing in any industry. Also, any day-to-day transaction for business. If you think about it, like for example, would you and I hire somebody to manage our books if we don't trust them, if they can actually do it correctly? No, I'm never going to hire somebody to do our taxes or do our bookkeeping if we don't know that, or we're confident, or we trust the fact that they do something, right? Same thing with an attorney. I'm not going to hire an attorney to manage something for me or do something for me if I don't trust that he can actually deliver on what he promises that he can deliver on, right? So that initial message out to any potential client, being that client first person, like just saying like, hey, I'm an attorney. I work at such and such law firm. I got your inquiry. I want to just see if I can help. Do you have time to talk? Like just something simple like that goes a long way to start building that trust, because as you continue having the conversation with them and then you physically get on the phone with them, they start beginning to trust you more and more and more. So you want to warm them up with your messaging before they ever get to the call, because by the time of the call, you just talk about how you can help them with their case and how this is the best fit for them. And then also they hire you as the attorney for their case.
Right. Yeah, I think that makes a ton of sense. What if we're saying that, like, making that human connection is the right thing, and you got to, really put the customer first. What are some common pitfalls, or what's the wrong way to be approaching being an attorney in today's day and age?
I mean, I think attorneys, like you just said before, it's like, I don't want people to talk to me until they pay for me, right? Like that mentality, I think, would hurt a lot of law firms. Don't get me wrong. I think our time is valuable and what we do is very valuable. We went to law school. We're a professional. I understand time is money. I completely understand that. But getting clients in the door needs to be more of like an open, door type of situation for that. So, that personal connection and that client facing journey for anybody is just a big trust factor for you to be able to retain more cases, period. Like it's just, hands down, that was like the one like lever that I figured out. Like, if you're just mass sending messages to somebody and all the messages are the same, and then like 3 days later you send them all the same messages and the same emails, like they're going to catch on the fact that like there's nothing personal about this.
Right.
It's like an automated system sending you the same text message 5 times over the course of 7 days or whatever it is. There's nothing personal about that. Right. But there's ways to like train systems or AI to learn like how things work to be it more personal. So that way you're not technically doing it, but it comes off as human, and all of us are humans. So we like to interact with humans, right? It's the same concept of like when you call tech support for something, everybody's like 0000 customer service because they want to talk to somebody. They don't want to talk to the machine.
Yeah.
So the same concept with like, your messaging, like, being that person, like if you can make that in a way that's just beneficial, like they stop shopping around and then they come to you and they talk to you and you become retain clients.
And so I think you brought up a big thing with AI and with case retention AI. That's a big part of what you guys do at LawHustle. So just explain real quick what case retention AI is.
Yeah, I mean, case retention AI is like this thing that we are really getting into. And what I would say by this is like, AI is like this new shiny object that everybody's doing. But like in reality, if you want to scale your firm to a higher level and be able to have more cases, like you instead of hiring an army, you can program your system for success. Like we can program something for success. We can make that system have flaws to make it seem like it's still human, and it's scalable. Like it's 100% scalable, but you can program for success. We can learn from the mistakes that it does from AI, obviously, right? And also, by programming it for success, you're making it obviously have flaws, right? Humans are flawed, right? When we text message people, I mean, I couldn't even tell you how many text message errors I make when I'm texting somebody, like
Right.
spelling errors. So, but like things like that, just like trickling things like that into a system that, you know, it's human. And so like you can program for success, you can make it human. And then at the end of the day, it's automated. So it's scalable. So like you're talking about being able to handle like 10 leads or whatever it is, so handling thousands of leads without having to lift a finger.
Yeah. So you're still applying the same things and making it personal and having a human connection, but you are leveraging some of the, you know, artificial intelligence and things that are out there now. And obviously there's safeguards in place where if you need to, if a human needs to connect, they can. Yeah. And that's huge. What, you know, as people are watching your show and and listening to what you have to share, as people are subscribing and consuming more of your content here as we go forward, what is like one thing that you really hope that they get from you that you can share? Like what's your overall kind of big picture that you're hoping people gather as, you know, do you have a banner you're waving type of a thing?
I mean, I honestly would say it'd be two things. Yeah. For the people that already have decided to go out and hang up their own shingle and be their own firm and then grow it to like their dreams, like I want to like make it clear, like it shouldn't be frustrating experience. Like there's things you can do. There's people out there that can help. There's like systems you can use in place to make your experience better long-term. Like, so the people that are in it that feel like they're never going to make it. And then like maybe like having this deciding factor of like, am I going to go back in-house or am I going to go back to a firm or whatever the situation is, versus being able to like continually like build the practice of their dreams. Like it's possible. Trust me. Like this is 100% a side project. I had no intentions of building a law firm at the very beginning when I got out of law school. And now look at us now. And two, the people that like are thinking about going on their own, like want to provide a better client relationship with their clients outside of whatever they're currently working right now. Like another thing is like there's things and tools out there to make your life really, really easy. Like I'm a firm advocate on working smarter, not harder. Like if you just saw like anything that I do, like I will do anything in my power so there's the least amount of input from me.
Yeah, I love that. And so I think it's okay to embrace technology and embrace smarter systems and working smarter, especially if you're a professional, because time is money. And so you want to leverage your time and do things as, you know, leverage the tools that exist. So I think that's a really good kind of double banner that you share. I hope everyone does a couple of things. So follow Chris Lyle, like and subscribe wherever you're listening or watching, enjoying this show. Share it with an attorney or somebody who you know also wants to elevate the quality of life and practice that they're able to have right now, as well as you know, check out golawhustle.com. Awesome, Chris. We'll be back with more as we go forward, and excited to share more of Chris's message and get the message out to the world.
All right. Thanks, everyone.